Brazilian Portuguese, Portuguese from Portugal. Are they the same? Which one should I choose? I get these questions all the time when people come to me saying that they want to learn Portuguese. They waste time trying to figure out which variety to choose. If you're asking yourself these questions, watch this video and I'll help you understand which Portuguese is best for you. Hi, my name is Pedro. I teach Brazilian Portuguese. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to learn some interesting facts about the Portuguese language, and I'll give you my unbiased opinion as to which variety of Portuguese you should choose. Did you know that Portuguese is one of the most spoken languages around the world? It's estimated that there are between 250 and 260 million native speakers of Portuguese, which makes it the 5th most spoken language by native speakers. Impressive, right? Which is mostly thanks to Brazil, with a population of around 210 million people, where Portuguese is spoken by almost 100% of the people. You might not know, but Portuguese is also spoken by millions of people in Africa, especially in Angola and Mozambique. It's estimated that 70% of the population of Angola and 60% of Mozambique speak Portuguese, including native speakers and people who speak it as a second language, which means around 25 million and 20 million people. Nowadays, it's in Africa where Portuguese grows the most, boosted by its populational growth and the teaching of Portuguese at schools. Portugal, where the language originally comes from, comes only in 4th place, with 10 million speakers. Portuguese is also an official language in Cape Verde, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, São Tomé and Príncipe, and East Timor. But it's not so widespread in those countries, and it's spoken by very few native speakers. Last but not least, shout out to Macau, a Chinese territory that was a colony of Portugal, which you find in lists of places where Portuguese is spoken. The truth is, almost no one speaks Portuguese there, but you can still find some cool bilingual signs there. So you finally decided to learn Portuguese, maybe because you love Brazilian culture, or maybe because you traveled to Portugal and loved it. And you might be wondering, which variety should I learn? Does it make a difference? The 2 most popular varieties are by far Brazilian Portuguese and European Portuguese, or Portuguese from Portugal. So what's the difference between Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese from Portugal? If you ask a Brazilian this question, they will say that the 2 varieties are very different, while someone from Portugal most likely say that they have no trouble understanding Brazilian Portuguese. There are considerable differences when it comes to vocabulary. For example, if you're looking for the bathroom in Brazil, you're going to be looking for the banheiro. But if you are in Portugal, casa de banho. If you need to take a train in Brazil, you take a trem. And in Portugal, comboio. And then you need to take the bus. In Brazil, you take an ônibus. In Portugal, an autocarro. One caveat, I'm pronouncing all the words as a Brazilian would. I'm not trying to copy an European Portuguese accent. There are even differences in grammar. If you wanted to say, I'm reading, in Brazil, you would say, eu estou lendo. You would use the gerund. However, in Portugal, you would say, estou a ler. You would use the preposition a plus the infinitive. But in general, a Brazilian can read a text in European Portuguese very easily, and vice versa. The impressions we Brazilians get is that we're reading something very formal or even archaic. The main difference, though, is the accent. Verbal communication between a Brazilian and someone from Portugal is not always successful. You might know Anita, or Anita, as we say in Brazil. She's probably Brazil's most popular artist right now. She's a very successful artist. She plays her music all around the world. She's a polyglot. She even went to Jimmy Fallon's show and successfully communicated in English. But in Portugal, this happened.
Para quando o seu próprio show em Portugal? Eu aí vai com o meu irmão que tá resolvendo essas questões de tour, porque eu mesma não sei.
Fica prometido.
Hã?
Fica prometido.
Ficam por quê?
Fica prometido.
que é isso?
É uma promessa. Fazemos
Prometido! Ai, desculpa, fica prometido. Eu volto.
It's funny how the reporter repeated the question 3 times and Anita couldn't understand for the life of her. It was all about the accent. In Brazil we say prometido, and in Portugal they say something like prometido, which sounds very different to our Brazilian ears. At this point, you might be wondering, you Brazilians, you're exaggerating. Isn't it the same difference between, I don't know, American English and British English? Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that it's still the same language, but what you need to have in mind is that we Brazilians, we have almost no exposure at all to the Portuguese spoken in Portugal. We don't listen to Portuguese music. We don't watch Portuguese films and series. We don't follow Portuguese celebrities, Portuguese content creators on YouTube. Most people don't even read Portuguese literature. So this makes that the European Portuguese sounds almost like a foreign language to our Brazilian ears. To sum up, Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese from Portugal are just 2 different varieties of the same language, and by definition, they're mutually intelligible. However, the differences are so substantial that it's important to ask yourself, which variety should I choose? The answer is, it depends. Let's say you love Portugal, or you live in Portugal, or you're thinking about moving to Portugal, then by all means, learn European Portuguese from a Portuguese teacher. But if it's not the case, then I think learning Brazilian Portuguese probably makes more sense, because 80% of all the Portuguese speakers are in Brazil. So you probably want to learn an accent that allows you to communicate more successfully with the largest number of people, right? But if you do choose Brazilian Portuguese, either because you love Brazilian music, Brazilian culture, Brazilian soccer, or you want to live in Brazil or travel to Brazil, I'm here to help you. You probably know that Brazil is a huge country, so accents vary a lot from region to region, but relax, don't worry about it for now. Worry about learning vocabulary, grammar structures, the sounds of Portuguese, and you'll be fine. And if you're learning Brazilian Portuguese with me, you're going to learn the most charming Brazilian accent. The accent from Minas Gerais, the Mineiro accent. No, I'm not the one who's saying that. It was a study from a big online platform for online lessons. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and if you want to speak Brazilian Portuguese confidently, stay tuned for the next videos. Obrigado. Ciao.